Hello, Joe Franco here. It's been a while since I sat in front of this camera to do any kind of video cast. Probably about 4 or 5 years is when I had my little video blog going on. Recently, I wanted to get back in the game of doing these so I can give you some of my thoughts on different topics, and if I have any questions, I'll be surely happy to answer them. The first thing that I want to discuss today is really pretty rampant in today's world because we're surrounded by so much social media, great websites as far as showing people's contest prep or just the way they look, supplement ads and magazines, and it's just rampant. And really the topic of that I want to discuss for the next few minutes is comparing yourself to others. Now, you can use that in one of two ways, and the best way to look at it is that if you see someone that you aspire to be, use that as motivation. You want to have this certain look. You basically see this body, you want to look this way, and that's a goal of yours. That's great. But too many people also will get discouraged by seeing this physique. It's just, you have to take into account there's a number of reasons or a number of things you have to realize that, why is this person looking the way they do? First and foremost is, have they, how long have they been training? Have they been training 10, 15 years compared to your 2 or 3? That's something that you have to take into account. You have to respect that. Things don't happen overnight. You have to have the smart plan, the smart diet, just basically to keep it going with the consistency, the dedication to reach that goal that you might see this person on Facebook or whatever. Another thing is, natural structure. Some people just have a genetically better structure than others, but not using that as a cop-out. You can still work within your limits, or not within your limits, but you can still work with what you have and focus on that and build your body beyond that. So that's why comparing yourself to someone else, they may have a faster response to grow muscle or lose body fat, or they may just have a natural overall structure with a smaller waist. I personally have a wider, thicker waist, and my lat attachments are pretty low. So I'm not going to have those big, bulging out lats or a real small waist or, that illusion. But I take what I have and I push myself to reach a better look, in comparison to myself, not someone else. Another thing you have to consider is, anabolic steroid use. You'll see pictures, a lot of ads and pictures and whatnot, and do you know the truth about them? Sometimes, they do, and it's a physique that's enhanced, and so be it, and that doesn't bother you. But then there's others that are a fine line, and they could be using, easily, and you just don't know. And that could be a letdown if you do find out. So there's a lot of things to consider, but you really got to learn how to motivate yourself and use these pictures of other people as inspiration. If you want that to happen, use it as inspiration rather than a demotivation or a discouraging factor on yourself. I was guilty of this when I first started competing. Well, not when I first started competing, the internet wasn't as prevalent and we didn't have all this social media. It was well before Facebook. But when the first OCB show I did, the reason why I found out about that is because the old OCB forum on the internet, and that was a highly, motivated place with a lot of information. I did my first show, and then I wanted to go for my pro card the next year, and I was guilty. I was looking at pictures of other competitors and past OCB shows, and I drove myself nuts. That didn't do any good because it didn't matter. I can look at all these pictures, but you have no idea who's going to show up. And then just to learn, when I did my first pro show, it was like, well, I didn't care who was showing up. I didn't research it out or like, oh, maybe this guy will be competing. It didn't matter. So when you reach that point of, when you're competing, it just doesn't matter. Well, that's a win, because you got to focus on yourself. But getting back to the topic, don't let anyone else or these pictures of people that you see in magazine supplement ads, Facebook, whatever, don't let that dictate your decision. The bottom line is, as long as you have the right game plan, you're going to reach your goals. You have the right drive, you're going to reach your goals. Use someone else as motivation, inspiration, have you. But do not use it as a point of like, oh boy, I can never look this way. It can never happen. Because it's just really not worth it. You control yourself. So that's really it. That's all I wanted to talk about today, is just to get this kick started. The focus is the bottom line. You are in control of what you want to do rather than looking at someone else and hoping you look that way, because there's so many other factors. the plan that someone must be doing, the years of experience of weight training, their God genetics that they've been given, their natural structure, if they're using steroids or not, those all things can come into play, but don't let it discourage you. You're in control of what you want. So any other questions, hit me up. Thanks for watching, and hopefully this wasn't too boring. Thanks.